have to say, I feel like a lot of women want to
Women
tell
do it.
men how to lead. And if they disagree with them in their way of leading,
Is an
then a
argument.
lot of women feel that that's their way and their
You
excuse to
argue.
be disrespectful and
Yeah.
to not be in line with who they're supposed to be in their relationship.
Yeah.
You would, as a woman, you can't really sit back and tell a man how he needs to lead as a man. I think that is absolutely like
I have to trust.
is not, but it also goes with the vetting process, like making sure you
Mhm.
pick someone. Like
That.
you can't get in a situation where you pick a man, you've
Mhm.
taken all of this time to say, this is a person that I respect, I love, I want to date, I want to
Right.
get to know, I want to mesh my life with them, and then they're respectable. How do they go from respectable to laying on the couch? That doesn't make any sense, because that type of person is not going to get to that point. And if they do get to that point, it must be some traumatic situation happening in their life. Then that means it's your role and your duty in that moment to bring them up, to be that helpmate that Precious was explaining. Because obviously they've stepped out of their character, they've stepped out of their masculine frame, the man that you chose and that you've known and learned and grown to love. So that is outside of the realm. So that means you're there to be that helpmate to lift them up. And in that situation, you're going to have to stay there, not leave. You're going to have to stay there and endure, right? Endure and learn and grow. You grow in your position and how you need to learn to support that other person. This is what I need people to understand. Marriage and relationships are not some rainbow road of sunshine and perfect situations every single day. You have to be able to endure some things. I don't care, either you get the most perfect person, you have the most perfect, attractive, y'all have this great sex life, y'all both making all of this money, y'all living in this big house, everybody got six packs, and everything is perfect. It's still going to be some hard days. It's still going to be some difficult times. Y'all are not raised by the same parents. You don't come from the same household. You're going to disagree. You're going to have disagreements. You might have arguments, but guess what? You chose that person. You signed on for it. So if it's something that can be worked through, you have to grow up and work through it, just like we do with everything else in our life. I'm tired of women throwing in the towel over, excuse my French, bullshit.
Bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I will
It's
also
just
say
like
this.
a job,
Cloud
really,
Jones,
y'all.
Cloud Jones is not wrong, because I've seen many, many times again. We see it with attention. A man who don't give a woman attention, he get all of her attention, and it's like when he has shown restraint, that her little nitpicking behaviors don't bother him, and then once he shows like, okay, well, she constantly doing this, she obviously wants me to address it, and he address it in a way where it doesn't look like she's taking control. Women know who to try. We've been saying this for years. Women know who to try. We know who the trick and who the simp is, and we know who the alpha and who the dominant man is. We know who the punk is, and we know who the big dog is. And you behave how you know who that man is. It's some men you can walk up to him and they ain't never had to correct a woman on her mouth, because she already know how to come with him. And then some men,
Mhm.
they had to go ahead and show a woman, I ain't one of them. They had to go ahead and show her because his disposition came off a little bit misleading.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody mentioned earlier, women have a spirit of rebellion. We absolutely do. We absolutely do. And if you let me, I'm going to show you how rebellious I can be, right? We all say it. And I don't think it's the best thing. I do think that it's a bad behavior women need to unlearn. However, we utilize it and try to implement it off of anybody that we can get off over. And it starts with pretty privilege, and it starts with your parents. It starts very
Mhm.
young. If I can get away with it from daddy, then mama gonna go for it because she gonna listen to him. We already know. And if I can get away with it in school because I'm pretty, then I'm gonna be able to get away with it later on down the line. And it comes a point where sometimes you have to realize this bad habit is not conducive to how you maneuver with a man, period. This is a very bad habit. And we teach it to our little girls. I can't wait to have a daughter so she can act like me, so I can teach her how to ask daddy for money. We've seen those stories and those little, little soliloquies and videos and things like that. We see it all the time, right? And what we have to learn is sometimes him exerting his dominance is not necessarily healthy all the time for the relationship, because you feel like you want to try him or you want him to prove that he is the man that you said that he should be. Sometimes it's just very much so unnecessary. And some of these men, you get a man like Marcus, they'll leave your ass alone.
It's just like a job,
I
y'all.
just
You go to work, some jobs fall off. You ever had a job and you start feeling like it's a dead end job? You leave, right? You make changes and you say, I'm finding another job. And I'm not saying for all women to just leave or whatever, but if things are going down and it's not looking better, you don't argue with a man. You don't fuss at the man. You don't start trying to be his mama. You try to find out what actually is a problem. And if it's a relationship, not a marriage, you just get out, because you don't want to turn around and have a baby with this man. See, it's one thing about a marriage, but if you are just in a relationship with a man, you can turn around and get pregnant by this man and he's sitting on the couch playing video games. So it makes sense to leave a relationship versus a marriage. So I just wanted to specifically say that. But when you got a job, you know what to respect, what not to respect. You're going to come back late from break if you can get away with it. But at some point, that job is not going to argue with you, and you're not going to argue with them. And if you don't argue with your job when they sit you down and give you your verbal warning or that write-up, you got to give your man the same respect. You don't argue when you get that write-up. You just sign it and you get up and go back to your desk. So when a man tells you like, yo, this is what we doing and this is what we not doing, why are you going to argue with him?
So just when you talk about like jobs and careers in real life, I think it's really important. Like Marcus said, like the power in the tongue is really, life and death is there. It's so important for women to really find and seek other women that are in a place, like Trev said, when you're trying to seek advice and you're looking for wisdom. It's important to seek out those women with the knowledge that they possess, that you want to grow into, or the role that you want to become. Outside of my mother, I really am surrounded, and my mother-in-law, by some amazing women that I work with, that I've learned, and in my sorority, that I've learned how to be silent, how to examine my environment, how not to react just because I may feel emotionally led to in the moment. Learning when it is a good time to speak and to address something very deeply, or when it is a good time to just address something on the surface and let it go and move on. In my career, I've literally women that have 30, 40 years on me, sitting back in silence and admiration and just watching how they navigate issues at work and issues within their personal life, and how they're always professional and upstanding and pillars for women where I am in my stage of life. I'm like, that is how I want to be respected. That is how I want to move in my community. That is how I want to be respected by younger women that are coming up under me, and respected by the peers that I have alongside me. If you don't have those types of figures in your life where you can sit back and really look at and see, women always have goals when it comes to education and money, but where is the goals when it comes to community and family? Where are those goals, right? We need the whole entire picture, because having that whole entire picture will turn you and help you to grow into the woman that God has intended for you to be, and the woman that you are meant to be, and also the woman that you need to be to have the success and get the things that you say you want. Sometimes and realizing that, you're going to realize that shedding those layers of some of the things that you need to shed. It may be painful at times, y'all. It may not feel good, y'all. If your man, your boyfriend is telling you something, and you sit back and you be like, my brother told me that when I was like 15, and here you are 25, and you hearing the same thing. It may be true, y'all. It really may be true. So that is a chance for you to sit back and look in the mirror and say, this is a problem that I may have, right? This is also a problem that I may have that's hindering me from getting the outcomes in life that I want. You're not going to get that management position. You're not going to move up. Those degrees will not be put to work because you don't exhibit regulation, self-regulation. You're not able to, if you're not able to lead yourself, you can't lead anyone else. You're not going to be able to lead your husband, your children. You're not going to be able to also be a good follower of, and know when you do see good leadership, you're not even going to know what good leadership is because you don't have the qualities either. Right? So I just urge people, men, I watch on King Talk all the time. Y'all talk about brotherhood. Y'all talk about having men around you. But women, we need the exact same thing. You need to find those pillars in your life and in your community, and you need to really get close and just be quiet and follow and study and learn and grow. And if somebody gives you advice and you know it's coming from a loving place, you have to take the emotion out of it and listen.